Welcome in everybody to this PayTrace Power30. My name is Sam Johnson, and with me are our esteemed guests, Attila Rigo and Ryan Malloy. You've gotten to know them for the past couple minutes already. We're going to be doing some more formal introductions, but before we get to that, I want to set the stage on what to expect for the next half hour. If you are new to these Power30s, these are your chance to get a little bit more insight into PayTrace, into the industry, into what's going on, and meet some of the people behind the scenes. We do this for about half an hour on here. We may go a little bit longer just in case the conversation really gets moving. And you are muted. It doesn't mean that we don't want to talk with you. We just want to reduce some background noise and distractions. So as we go through this, if you have questions, comments, emotional outbursts, please open up the Q&A box, send in anything that you want to discuss with us. We probably won't be able to tackle every question on today's call, but we will have some teams following up after this webinar. So let's get into the meat and potatoes of this. And both of our guests this is their first time on Power30, so I'm really excited to welcome them. I'm actually going to start with introducing Attila Rigo. Attila is our newest Vice President of Sales here at PayTrace. You've been on for 4 or 5 months now?
Dog years, but let's call it 4 months.
Okay. At least it's through a probation period if there even was one of that. So you're here to stay, man. But we're really excited to have you on here today, meeting some of our partners. And I know you've been traveling a bit to some of the conferences and introducing yourself. So hopefully for some of you guys, Attila is a familiar face. Attila, I'd love to hear a little bit maybe about your background. You know, how long have you been in payments? What brought you to PayTrace?
Sure, thanks. Appreciate it. Love being on. I have met certainly some of our partners, looking to meet more every single day. Appreciate this opportunity. So my merchant services career started back in the early 2000s. I was with Wells Fargo Merchant Services for about 10 years. Had a good run. It was I do definitely call it the good old days at the Wells Fargo before some, let's say they had some issues come in on the merchant side as well as other side. Then I thought I would, go see how the sausage is made. Went to go work at Fiserv for a while, but for about 3 years. Started their commercial banking program and had about 40 of their top bank partnerships that I was entrusted with. It was a really good, really fun time and got to learn them. It was actually before they were called Fiserv. So, and then last but not least, got a great opportunity to work at Bank of America Merchant Services, where I was entrusted with their restaurant group and the commercial banking group in the Southeast. Got to spend some time in Florida and at West Palm Beach, which wasn't a bad place to hang out. And then got a really great opportunity to come here and really appreciate the time that I've been here. Definitely learning something every single day, and to look forward to meeting more of our partners as things move on.
That's awesome. Appreciate the knowledge and the experience that you bring to the team, Attila. And I will say you're not having to slum it with us up here in cold Spokane. You are still living in Arizona. I know it's not Florida, but you're still out golfing year round at least. So
that's an accurate statement.
I'm not going to say I'm jealous, but I'm a little bit jealous. So we've got Attila here to answer some of your questions. We're going to throw him under the bus with some of the harder, maybe some of the harder hitting questions. But also with us is Ryan Malloy, who is the Senior Vice President of Partner Sales at North American Bancard. Had the pleasure of working with Ryan now for the past few months. And Ryan, kind of the same thing. We just heard that you're not surfing currently in Michigan, but maybe tell us a little bit about your background at NAB and in the industry.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Sam. So I joined NAB in February of 2008. So I think we are approaching 15 years. The first 2 years of that was on the direct sales side, when we used to spend some time and energy soliciting merchants. So I did that for a couple of years and then moved on to the partner side ever since then. So in one way or another, ever since that time, I've been focused in, distribution that comes in through our 1099 partners, agents, MLS, ISOs, registered DBAs, PayFax, ISV, so whatever you want to call them, right? There's a lot of different ways that merchant services is solicited through the partner channel, but that's really what we do. And outside of that, there's a couple other merchant-facing organizations that are in my world: merchant activation and retention, QA, boarding, and then our POS Pros team, which helps third-party agents sell hospitality and retail POS systems. So that's the primary focus. Yeah, I'm not surfing. I was never surfing, but I'm not in a place to surf anymore. A lot of water around Michigan, but not a lot of surfboards.
And I found out recently that you're also not a very big roller coaster enthusiast, which is a bummer. I'm not going to force you to go to Cedar Point or anything with me anytime soon, but and now you can add, it sounds like you wear a lot of hats, but now you can add PayTrace to that list because you've been pretty involved with us as well. So doing a lot for sure. Well, I want to maybe just start off by addressing kind of the elephant in the room, right? Is that we have somebody from North American Bancard on this call, and hopefully most of the people here in the audience are aware of this, and maybe if you're not, then you'll learn now. But earlier this year, PayTrace has partnered with North American Bancard. It's been really great kind of integrating with the NAB team and getting access to resources and kind of evolving as a company. Ryan, could you speak maybe a little bit to what made NAB really consider PayTrace as a partner, and really what synergies that we bring to the table?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when this all started coming together, PayTrace was a solution that many of our partners had been asking for, and we were starting to go down that path of an integration to EPX, right? That's our front and back end processor that we wholly own. So this made a lot of sense to me and in our world. NAB, you look at cash discount, you look at smart terminals, you look at retail and hospitality POS, we do incredibly well in those spaces. But when you move to e-com and you look at some of this level 2 and level 3 stuff, there wasn't a lot that was really in the family from a solution set, right? So there's a lot of third-party gateways and a lot of third-party vendors that we work with, but nothing internal to us to kind of round out that solution that all fits together, right? So to me, PayTrace was a solution we needed to have. If we could bring that even closer and make it part of the family, that was awesome, right? So that was very exciting to us. So that's where it started. Take a processing platform that's got 50 billion in volume going through it, and add a B2B tool like PayTrace, it's got 40 billion going through it. The sky's the limit, right? So for us, there was really that opportunity to empower our sales folks to write those deals on our platform that need to use PayTrace and see the value in PayTrace. And then obviously, when you look at the size of our organization and the scale we have from an engineering standpoint, there's a lot of value there to help build out PayTrace and continue to expand the solution, right? So it made a lot of sense to us from that perspective.
And I can really appreciate that. And I hear some validation in there, right? You saw a gap that there was a need for a B2B solution, and we provided that. So that's even more of a nod, and just the fact that we've really put together a great technology, and it seems to fit really well. But you did mention one thing there that I'm really excited about is just the enhancement, right, to the system, is the fact that NAB moved into this partnership with the idea of making PayTrace a better solution as a company. And you also have a processing network that you threw out there a couple times, EPX. And I know, Attila, you've kind of gotten pretty involved in EPX, and we've recently certified to this platform. Would you mind maybe sharing a little bit about what is EPX exactly, and maybe what differentiates it from some of the other processing platforms that are out there?
Yeah, I mean, I got to tell you, having had experience mostly with the Fiserv and TSYS of the world, I've been extremely pleasantly surprised, and the way that EPX and really Payments Hub, which is the boarding platform, which boards merchants. I got in it, dove in right away, and started boarding some merchants myself, because I want to know what our partners and our merchants would experience, right? So some really pleasant things, some great things stuck out immediately to me, right? I boarded my first merchant in 7 minutes, by the way, from start to finish. And those of you that know me, even those of you who don't, I promise you, I'm not a technical genius by any stretch of the imagination, right? So I just got in there, fill out a couple of things, send out an application, was informed right away what was happening. So I'll break it down for you in the things that have mattered to me and the things that have really pleasantly surprised our partners as well. First of all, there are auto approvals within the system. Those things I know that aren't out there for processing partners overall, right? Expanded underwriting hours to 10 p.m. Eastern time. Again, a very pleasant surprise. Emerging markets, something that EPX does and the overall platform does and supports. I'll just throw a couple out there like CBD, debt collection, credit repair, gaming. Those are things that just I've walked away from for the last 20 years, having been with some other partners in the past, right? Next day and same day funding options, moving around batch times, unheard of with the folks I mentioned prior, right? So those are things, again, so an extreme example, right? Bar in New York City closes at 4 a.m. We could conceivably have the money for them there at a.m. next morning if they meet certain parameters. Again, those are things that, you know, if you're on Nashville, it's 9 p.m. Eastern, and that's the way it is, right? Those are the batch times. The Payments Hub portal itself, man, I have to tell you, best-in-class portal boarding and communication tool. Every step of the way, I submit a merchant, it tells me when a merchant has opened it, when they've submitted it. It's all done auto signature, e-signature, extremely smooth process. And, you know, while PayTrace itself is a B2B and a lot of e-commerce business, those of you out there in the retail world, the Edge and cash discounting program is a discounting program, cash discounting program done the right way. Visa, MasterCard, it's really done by the letter of the law and has really benefited a lot of our partners in a tremendous amount of ways. Mm-hmm. So those are the things that really stuck out to me. And I consider all of them in a nice bundle to be difference makers.
Absolutely. And I appreciate the fact that PayTrace, right? We've always been kind of processing platform agnostic. So you mentioned a couple of the other ones, TSYS, Fiserv, right? We're still supporting those. We're still, right? You still have the PayTrace gateway on that, but now that we're adding even more solutions to make us even more, right, available across the board. And just personally, you know, I've worked a little bit now with some of the EPX resources. You mentioned the payments portal. I've had to get in touch with people just for help a few times. And what I really like about it is just the parity of support of what I'm used to kind of working with PayTrace, especially coming from client support myself, is the fact that, right, if I do have issues or I need to find something, it's pretty user friendly working with EPX. And also, right, if I need to talk to an actual individual, it's extremely responsive. So I'm really excited for this. I'm hoping that this opens up some more opportunities for our partners that are on here. If they've ever run into any roadblocks or any issues with networks, right, now you have additional options moving forward. And I am curious, right, now that we're talking about this, I have a poll and I'm just going to launch this. How many of you on today's call are open to adding more solutions to your processor set, right? Is that something that you're open to? Or are you pretty much, you know, I'm locked in with whatever I've got going. This is how it is. So I'm going to leave this up here for maybe 10, 15 seconds. And it actually looks like a majority of people are open to new options, which I love that, right? All right, so we're going to close this down in 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Well, with that said, maybe back to Ryan. You know, how else does this merger, in your opinion, open up more revenue opportunities to our resellers today?
So I think there's a couple different things. The first thing is we have always been focused on bringing the features that people need to market, right? Mm-hmm. And you know, you guys have done the same thing. That's how you got in front of level 2 and level 3 the way you did. But we're in the few discussions I've had with PayTrace partners so far, you know, ad surcharging, add an EMV on more processing platforms, right? These are things that can win business, right? When you join a larger organization like ours, we've got hundreds of engineers internally, and we've got tons of capital to put towards those type of things, right? So I think that we'll see features come even quicker, features that can get these partners into new markets that maybe they haven't been in before, or expand the revenue streams in the ones they have, right? So I think that's one piece. The other piece, and this is the piece that, Eric's relationship management team and Attila and the team, that I really encourage everybody that's on this phone, especially looking after those poll answers, to get on the horn and talk to the PayTrace team about, is bundling services, and not just reselling gateway services for PayTrace, but resell merchant services too. We are a full front and back end processor. PayTrace merchant services, which you can sell under any name. At NAB, we sell under 70 or 80 different names when you think about all of our registered partners and such. So you can sell under whatever brand you want, but if PayTrace can win your business from a Schedule A perspective and enhance what you're already earning on your merchant services that you're reselling through someone else, that's a win for you right there. But the second piece to that is, if we can move and bundle things together and go on that scale and increase the revenue opportunity from PayTrace to add the merchant services, maybe they don't need to earn so much on the gateway fees. Maybe we can reduce those. Maybe we can get rid of those completely if there's another revenue stream there. And some partners, it's your call. You might find that as a margin opportunity completely for you if you're able to reduce the PayTrace gateway costs. Or you might share some of that with a merchant, right? To gain other new accounts, or to put yourself in the good graces with them. So I think you're going to see more features and more functionality come even faster as you guys request it and as the market needs it. And I think you have the opportunity to put together a Schedule A for merchant services that is on par or better than what you're working with today, and potentially reduce the gateway expense that you or you're passing through your customers pay by bundling those services with PayTrace. I think those are the areas where it can really open up, more dollars and more doors for PayTrace resellers.
And I'll add, just for me being on the PayTrace sales team for the last 6 years, we had Jim Parkinson, North American Bancard's chief experience officer, come into our office a few months back, and one of the things that he stressed is how fast NAB likes to move. And for some people, right, they hear fast and they get a little bit nervous, like, oh man, it's gonna be a lot. But from a sales perspective, right, fast to me means new features, more enhancements, right, building a better product, right. And we've heard the pain from our partners and our resellers over the past few years that, right, we want more things like more retail options or surcharging or account updater, and some of these, right, missing sets that we haven't had great solutions for. And literally, like, month one with this partnership coming in with NAB, it's like, we got to get moving on this stuff. And that's been really exciting. So yeah, just to reinforce that, I can see that coming up in the very near future. And right, the economies, just better options as far as pricing for your merchants and for you. I can see a lot more benefits there. Right, so we've talked about processor, we've talked about some economy stuff. Ryan, maybe just to add on that, is there anything else that might be beneficial for PayTrace partners with this merger?
So I think making sure you've got a well-rounded solution set, so you're not walking away from customers. I mean, even to hear Attila say a minute ago, I stepped away from these customers, I walked away from these for 10 years before. Mm-hmm. We hate walking away. We know how hard it is. I mean, my world especially, our partners are out there. It's hard enough to go out and find a prospect that you have the right solution for and that wants to move forward and wants to do business with you. But then to be able to say, oh, we can't support you because of the reputational risk nature of your business, right? Or of a product that you sell, that's difficult, right? So I think the fact that the sponsor bank relationships we have, which are 4 active right now, if the merchant is not selling something that's federally illegal, if they're not violating the card brands, we want to look at it. We want that opportunity. We want to have the opportunity to bring them processing services and get you paid for it. So always look at it from that lens. The whole reputational risk piece that has been, a stigma of certain sponsor banks for a very long time is gone here. If it's a solid business model and they know what they're doing and there's margin for you and us in it, we want to look at that deal, right? So don't walk away from any doors there. A little bit outside of, what PayTrace has traditionally focused on, Attila mentioned Edge. That's cash discount, right? 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 1 in 100 deals were cash discount. More than half of the deals that we light up in the retail space now are utilizing cash discount. And it's great. It's great from an attrition standpoint because the customer's happy, right? You look at what COVID has done and how much consumers want to help merchants. They're very accepting of it. But don't forget, on average, it's 2.3 times the residual on a cash discount deal than a non-cash discount deal. I don't know anybody who says, hey, can you give me 2.3 for every one I'd get before to grow my portfolio? I mean, it's huge, right? And everybody's happy. Again, the consumers, myself included, we're okay with it. I want to empower the businesses around me. I want to make sure they can keep their doors open because it's harder than ever. So I'm happy to understand that convenience of card might cost me something different than a cash payment, right? I've got no problem with it. Merchants are accepting of it because their customers are telling them that, and they're retaining more revenue. So they're happy. And obviously us and our resellers are really happy with what it does. So you may be selling those products through someone else. You may not be selling them at all. Through your relationship with PayTrace, you get access to all those retail tools as well, right? So you've got the emerging markets. Attila touched on the real-time approvals. This is a process that's never going to stop. Fraud comes in all new ways, and the fraudsters continuously, find ways to beat those systems and cause losses. So I wouldn't say we're done. I'd say we're 10 years in the making, 9 years in the making of our auto approval process, but it is pretty slick. Again, do it under your brand, do it under the PayTrace brand, whichever you want. But we're seeing merchants that are completing the application online, be it through our form or through a partner's. If you want to submit merchants through an API, those are coming into us. They're getting real-time approvals, and they've got credentials to key transactions that day. Some of our partners, they do the whole terminal in the trunk mode too for these retail businesses, where not only are they signing them on an iPad in the location, getting approval real time, they're dropping a terminal right there and switching them over on a one-call close, right? So they don't have to go back the next day. They don't have to go back 3 weeks later. They don't have to wait for the terminal. There are those options to close and move on. These things are a little outside of the realm of what the PayTrace focus has been in the past, but you get full access to that now, right? The developer side too. It is incredible how many ISVs and partners we have now that they come in, they go to the developer site, they code for transactional processing, they code for enrollment, and they're ready to go. They're boarding customers, right? So you're getting access to all of that through this new relationship. So I think those are important. Never consider a door closed from a reputational standpoint. Add some of these retail high margin opportunities that we have in some of these emerging markets where you can really make a lot of money.
Very well said, right? And I've always mentioned to our partners, right? We don't want to pigeon ourselves in just the B2B bucket, but we can do other things, right? We do a lot in the card not present realm, but we've always had that gap on retail, on high risk, on emerging market, on things like that. Where now, right, we through PayTrace Merchant Services, through NAB, now we have options to fit really. I mean, there's not really, until I heard you say just the other day, right? We're not really turning away much any type of business anymore, right?
I think Ryan said it best, and I've copied this, right? Again, if it's legal and card brand approved, we absolutely want a shot at it. In my experiences over the last 4 months, we approve a tremendous amount that others walk away from or are too short-sighted to see, and will approve 6 months from now, but we'll approve it today. And that puts you ahead of the curve if you're one of our partners.
That's awesome. Well, I know we're coming up on time, guys, and I do want to address a few of the questions and comments that have been coming in. Just to open it up, Scott was asking, was Ryan Malloy on Baywatch, Michigan?
I am. Everybody's in trouble, so hopefully not.
Yeah, we'll yeah, maybe that's not something we'll even take offline. That's just, we'll ignore that for now. Patrick's coming in mentioning that North American Bancard won ISO of the year at ETA 2022. Congrats. What is that? What is the mission of, quote, the easiest payments processing company to do business with mean? Ryan, maybe I'll direct that one towards you.
Yeah, I tell you that goes all the way to the top. If you look at NAB, it's kind of it may be the only story I know of this way, but historically you see ISO acquire agents, right? Acquire portfolios, and then processor acquire ISO. That didn't happen here, right? This company started, our founder, he was an agent. He said, hey, I think I can do it better. I think I can do it faster. He became an ISO. He got a bunch of agents. Then we got sick of waiting in line at when it was First Data and when it was global, right? When we needed something. Yeah, sure, we can build that out and we'll start in 18 months, right? So we bought a processor, so to see ISO become processor is unique. The whole, how are we easy to do business with? How do we empower these merchants? How do we, make sure that there's an opportunity out there to earn all that business and keep it? It's all feedback driven. The new feature releases that you see, the new things that come out, the add-ons to the Pay Anywhere solution, the changes to how a batch report works, all of this stuff, cash discount, the Edge program, it's all either partners saying, hey, I need this to bring more business, to keep business, or it's merchants saying, hey, I wish I could do this, I wish I could do that. That's really what it's all behind. How do we need to position our tools and our services to make sure that our agents can win and keep every deal? That's really what the logic is behind that.
I love it. A couple other questions in here. One is from Sean, and Sean's asking, Ryan, you had mentioned potential reduced gateway fees with PayTrace merchant services with EPX. One, I think that's a great follow-up question to have with maybe some of our existing partners, but for Sean specifically, how can current NAB offices take advantage of this?
So Sean, it's live right now. You'll see that the Schedule A that's hosted in the partner portal for PayTrace has some benefits of putting those accounts on our processing platform, EPX, versus not. If you're not familiar with where those are in the portal and you don't have a partner relations advisor, or you don't know who that is, please reach out to me. And Sam, I hope you share all the contact and information with everyone here, but I can connect you with someone. We're running those trainings weekly, and we've got partners boarding through their existing, NAB or EPX agent IDs on the PayTrace solution each and every day. So it's live and it is active and it's ready to go. I can connect you with the right folks to show you.
Awesome. Yeah, and we'll kind of talk about maybe some follow-up and next steps here at the end, and how you can get in contact with some of us here today. There's a couple questions here from Tate, and Tate, I think we're going to maybe follow up with you offline because some of this is a little bit very involved, but I do want to address this where Tate's asking, what is the process for working with NAB? Is boarding householded under their current existing partner reseller relationship, or do they need to sign a separate ISO agreement with North American Bancard?
So the folks that are existing PayTrace partners today, if you haven't already executed a PayTrace merchant services agreement, then you're just a gateway reseller, right? You haven't signed a Schedule A. You don't have terms of an agreement to get paid on the merchant services side. That's why it's so important to get in touch with Eric and his team ASAP. Mm-hmm. They can provide that agreement via DocuSign. We can make sure the economics are where you need them to be. And as soon as you do that, you then get access to start boarding those merchant accounts as well. So the short answer is yes, you need to execute a PayTrace merchant services reseller agreement, and Eric's team can get you with the right people to do that.
Perfect. And Tate, that is Eric Jenks. He's still managing PayTrace's partner reseller channel. So for those of you that know Eric, he's still chugging along. He might actually be listening in secretly on this call.
Or not so secretly.
Or maybe not. He sometimes logs in as Jarek Yanks, which is not very secret. Maybe last question, and then we'll wrap up here. Actually, two more questions. I'm going to tackle one. It's from Leslie. Leslie's asking, any suggestions on selling into B2B space for credit card processing? Answer to that is work with me, your neighborhood sales trainer for PayTrace. Leslie, I'll follow up with you offline if you have just yourself or if you have a team that's really gung-ho about getting more into B2B payment sales. I'd love to work with you guys and get you going on that. And then maybe last one from Russell. is, do we need to register as an ISO at EPX?
So the short answer is no. We support agents, we support ISOs, we support registered ISOs. It's really your call, and it's depending on your business model and what you're looking to do. I will say that often folks are looking to register just to sell under their brand. We do have a way to do that without you going through that registration process too. So you do need to execute a partner agreement. You do need to have a relationship, but you don't need to actually register with the card brands.
Awesome. All right, team. Well, we are at time. We'll go ahead and wrap this up. I want to thank both Attila and Ryan for joining us today. A lot of really good information shared, and it seems like there's a lot of great engagement. For any of you that didn't have your questions answered, we will be distributing this to our sales team. And as Ryan mentioned, right, if you do want to move forward or get more information on EPX, PayTrace Merchant Services, right, how to expand your options, please reach out to us at sales@paytrace.com. And I'll actually make it very easy for those of you that do want to talk with us by launching this poll. If you are interested in learning more or going into next steps, let us know by answering yes on this poll. Or if not, right, hit not now. And if you are interested in the future, you know how to get a hold of us. So I'll leave this up here while we wrap things up. Ryan, Attila, thank you again both. We will be posting a follow-up email for everybody that registered and attended, and this recording will go live on our YouTube channel in the next week or so. So if you do need to share this with anybody or review it, we'll have this available to you all. Thanks again, and have a fantastic rest of your week.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Have a good 4th. Adios.